Regular session is back. We are back in regular session. Item number 8 on our agenda is the TML return of equity. A lot of companies, I think, are doing this. My insurance company did this. They are doing a return of equity, and staff needs to be directed how you all want them to spend the $628 that we are getting back.
Shouldn't we go right back to CML when we make our payments?
Well, we instead of them writing us a check, we can apply it to our dues, and then, which are $591, and we can have the other a credit for our next bill.
That's what I would say we need to do.
Can we make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we apply the return of equity from TML to our future bills, future TML bills.
To our dues and, or just the future bills?
TML.
You want to do it to all the bills or just,
The TML
because you can do it to,
pay for the current one and credit on the next one. Isn't that what you said?
I said, pay the annual dues, which is $591 on the balance, to be credited to our bills.
So I make a motion that we pay the TML, annual TML dues and the rest credit to the next.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made by Jennifer, seconded by David, that the TML return of equity be first applied to the dues and the balance credited to our account. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passed. The next thing is the draft that has been made up for memorandum of understanding between the City of Log Cabin and the Log Cabin Volunteer Fire Department. John, you had started to address this earlier about the $1,000.
Well, just in looking at the memorandum here, with respect to the current situation with the Rockland Fire and Volunteer Fire Department and the Police Department, I'm not comfortable with giving the fire department funds until that situation is resolved, until we have some kind of understanding with it.
Okay, so this is just a draft, and I want you to know that $1,000 that's mentioned in here is like a plug figure. I could have put 00, but I just put an amount in here. I have run this past city attorney, and he says that everything in here is okay. We need to, at this point, if you think that this is a form and says enough of what you think it should say, then we can present it to the Volunteer Fire Department, see if we, if the form of it is okay, then we can go forward with working on our budget to give them with the amount that we pay them for budget, if that's what you want to do. Comments?
I think it'll be better.
Yeah, I agree.
We have a motion to table, second by Jennifer, to just table this until a later time. How much later? For when, next meeting?
At least
Next
June
meeting,
meeting.
June meeting? Okay. All in favor? motion passed. The next item, number 10, is the memorandum of understanding with the city of Star Harbor. I had brought to your attention earlier that Star Harbor had asked us to share our code enforcement officer. And discussions with them, with their mayor. I have drafted this memorandum of understanding, and basically 4, 5, and 6 are the heart of this. And
So this addition to what we already have?
this is in addition to what we already have. So right now, with their other memorandum of understanding, will be $38.50 per month. Adding this on, would be $3,100 per month. They wanted to try 90 days, that's why that's in here, to see if that was enough time for him to spend it. He's only gonna spend like 8 hours. He's gonna spend, what we had discussed was 4 hours, like on the 15th, 4 hours at the end. And until he starts doing that, they, if it works out, this amount will change. If they go to.
Is that enough time? Wouldn't once a week be more appropriate at least?
This is between the two mayors.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
No, yeah, he's not been in on any of the negotiations, it's the mayor and I.
Oh, okay.
He has asked his council if they would agree to this. I told him you all hadn't even seen it, so they are in agreement about this for 90 days. We will, during that time, they'll have a chance, after a couple of months of him being over there, to see, and he's going to have to become familiar with their code, with their ordinances.
I
This,
think it would take a little more time than just 8 hours a month because, so.
that's what they asked, that's what they asked for. We discussed, I discussed this at length with their mayor, trying to get him to do 2 full days. It's very difficult. He's a little bit tight with their money. And so he just wants to, this is a trial period. So,
Just started somewhere.
and it's, we've got to start somewhere. And so, I asked him if he thought 90 days was enough time. He said yes, at least we'll give them a chance to evaluate what a code enforcement officer does.
Well, that was my deal. I don't want to set us up for failure either by not allowing him enough time to learn the code, the ordinances and things like that. That was my only concern because it is just 90 days to see how it does. That's the only reason I would bring it up.
Well, and that's been discussed. And only time will tell. If they have to start paying him overtime, they may reassess this. Because their court, if you have to go to court, their court doesn't start till 5 o'clock. So they would have to pay him overtime for going to court for things. So this is just a place for this kind of a thing to start. Back, Rodney was reminding me, when we first started with, having officers over there. They gave us, it was a really lowball figure to get our foot in the door. And it has worked out really well. You know, also been pretty well with that, and that's why this came in. They like dealing with us. They've been approached by other police departments or other cities to go with them, and they said no, we don't go with that. So, if you agree to these terms that are in here,
And who will be the first one time on them?
yeah,
If they only want 8 hours.
No,
Saying
no,
like
no,
they
I'm
only want
just
8
saying,
hours, let's just
That's
give them
not
8
what I'm
hours.
saying. I just don't want them to go, well, he only wrote 2 citations this time. Well, you know, I don't know. Do you understand what I'm saying, Chief? So,
Yeah,
I don't wanna set us up to fail, and I don't want him to be taken away from his duties either here. So
yeah.
that's the only, I mean, I'm fine with it. That's something I thought we should think about.
We'll make them happy. They're very happy with the police department. We've saved them hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last 3 years that we've been doing what we're doing. Like the mayor said, he was approached recently by another local police department because they see what we've been able to do over there. And so everybody's on the bandwagon now. They want to take it away from us. But I had a frank conversation with Mayor Claxton over there. You want to deal with me? So,
I have a question.
yes, sir.
In Part 4, the city of Star Harbor will require a member of the city of Log Cabin Police Department who is a paid full-time employee. I personally would like to see instead of that period or whatever, is a paid full-time employee to act as a code enforcement officer. Because you referenced that in Part 5. And so I don't want them, according to this, I'd rather be specific as to what kind of full-time employee, not a policeman, a code enforcement officer. Am I off track?
No, I get what you're saying. You could actually do a comma there. You said as a code enforcement officer. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That way they don't think they're getting a police officer, they're actually a code enforcement officer to enforce it too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that should be added in there.
Anything else?
Is it? Am I out? That's what we're doing.
I don't have that information. But, I do. What it worked out, what it worked out to with all of his benefits for those 8 hours was like $140. And the balance of what's in here,
That's
for the 250 is for the car and.
That's
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 what my
what you
question
wanna
was gonna
know.
be, is that a sufficient amount of money?
That's all I was questioning.
Yes, yes, it more than pays for,
Just making sure somebody done the math.
yes,
That's
I'm
what,
trying to check you, but.
yes. I did the math, and then I said to Chief, this is what I came up with, what do you think? And he said, yeah, that's exactly what he was thinking, so.
Works for me.
So it does pay. And that's when we had the discussion about the monthly.
Okay.
Any other discussion about this? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion for us to go ahead, for me to go ahead and present this and have it executed.
I'll make a motion that we execute the memorandum of understanding between the city of Star Harbor and the city of Log Cabin as amended.
I support.
I have a motion by John and seconded by Jennifer, that we execute the memorandum of understanding between the City of Star Harbor and the City of Log Cabin for code enforcement officer. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion is passed. The next item is, the Henderson County tax collection contract, which we do every year. They collect our taxes and forward them to us, and they take a cut. 90 cents per parcel.
This is the same one we've done before, right?
This is
the
exactly the same thing that they present to us every year. This contract is from October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2020.
On a no-brainer.
This is kind of a no-brainer. So I just need a motion that we execute this contract with the Henderson County Tax Office.
I make a motion that we accept the contract with the Henderson County Tax Office.
Second.
A motion made by Jennifer, seconded by John, that we execute the collections contract with Henderson County Tax Office. All in favor? Next item. Almost. The, Blake Armstrong sent this to us, and since, we had this webinar today, and I talked about this, we have the ability at our discretion to, instead of using the 3.5% increase in taxes, that we could do 8%. And then there's a whole lot of calculating that needs to be done. TML is recommending that we pass a resolution just in case the tax rate needs to be more than the 3.5%. This is, at this point, this is mostly informational for you, because we're gonna be starting to work on that, on the budget.
But this is voter approved tax rate, is what it says. It would have to be voted upon. Right? So that's what it says on here.
Well,
I may be wrong, that's how I was
well,
thinking. That's what I'm asking.
well, this is, it may and it may not.
Okay, that's what I was.
It may and it may
curious.
not, because of the COVID-19, this is all because of that. That cities under 30,000 population may not have to have that. May not have to have the vote.
Unless the form is.
Right, and there's a whole, this whole calculation thing that has to go on. I was studying that when Red came to see me the other day. I said, do you know what a de minimis tax rate is? It's a whole new thing that has to be figured out, that you have to figure that out, and then you have to figure out whether or not that and your rollback, what used to be called the rollback tax rate, is at a certain percent, and depending on whatever that is, then you decide whether or not you want to. So, this is mostly informational at this point. I am going to draft a resolution for the June meeting, just in case. It's just in case. It doesn't mean that we're gonna do it, it just means that if we need it, it's already in place. So that's, and if you wanna read the commentary on SB 2, I'd be happy to give it to you.
Is it something you look up online, or do you have,
I have a 15-page
I don't mind
summary.
looking over it, reading it and seeing, so I can understand it better myself.
I'd be happy to. I've been at it for 2 days, so.
Hopefully.
It's one of those sleeper kind of things. Okay, so that was just information for you. The next item is, the Verizon, we had, brought to you the fact that we would like to pursue, changing our, telephone and internet provider to Verizon. I tried to lay out on here, instead of giving you pieces of paper that you can't read. What our current charges are $850.60. The proposed Verizon charge, I kind of listed down here, that they would only charge $332.98 for their service, plus or 99. And then they don't do it with taxes. I just took the taxes off from the bills that we now have, so it will be less than $60. And then if we lease 3 modems, it would be $87 to lease them.
Each,
No, $29 each. And then, so that amount comes to $479.99. And the monthly savings would be about $370. If we were to purchase the 3 modems, it would cost us $2,683.17. We currently have 3 modems. That's why we're kind of sticking with that. They had said that we could get 5, and that would be like one of the Red Barn, I think, and what we don't currently have. But and then that one would have to be mounted on some kind of a tower or something. So we're just going to try and go with what we have right now, and then later on we'll think about it. The only out-of-pocket expense that we would have would be this $3,995.88 in order to get the telephones. We would need 11 of them at $70.
where are 11 come from?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this building. Okay, so let's say we have 7 here. There's 1 at the maintenance barn. There's 1 down at the gatehouse. And we counted them all up. It's under the radar. Do the wells have?
Is the fax machine one of them?
Oh, yeah, the fax machine and the credit card.
Fax machine should be built into the fax machine, right?
So that's not a problem.
Yeah,
We're just talking telephones. Nothing wrong.
Oh, you're talking this.
We're just physical phones.
Could you tack it at 11 so it would tax 15 and then first 17?
We're not gonna have to.
I'm coming up with 9.
Okay, so 9, okay. All right, so then we'd be less than this. And we may have, that 11 might have included, because when we were initially doing this, we thought about the right thought
Well,
about putting one.
yeah, because we were thinking, Red Barn and the water station, the water treatment plant.
Right, oh, yeah, the
There's
one.
not one over there either, but there never has been, so.
There hasn't been, and, okay, so this then would be 9. So this,
So you come up with 9 phones
9 phones
at $70.
at $70.
That's $630.
Where did you come up with $4,000 for 11 phones at $70 each?
I think they're just running the code.
No,
That's what-
that's what that says.
No, that's what it says.
It says $4,000 for 11 phones at $70 each.
Well, maybe that's my that's my miscalculation.
Okay. I was
I
like,
think it's a
did we
running,
miss
I think they're
something?
doing a running code
From the top and
from the top down. That's where I got.
That's my miscalculation.
That's,
I-
oh, okay, that's where I was getting like really,
Because
really
11,
confused.
and 11 phones at $70, we're going to be
Well, but if you did,
But,
no, I'm not still in there.
I'm sorry,
No, that's okay.
No
isn't
big
that what,
deal.
that's what they told us though?
So,
That's the figure that she gave us.
Don't like it, then,
it was just going to be 145.
yeah, we would have had to have heard the numbers.
No, but she gave us how much it would cost.
Even at
Cost for
145.
The cost for equipment,
I wonder if she would, I think, that probably the first time she was including the modems,
that's what I'm thinking.
because they're different, and we demoed a couple of different modems to verify that they would work here. And so the first modem that they send us from Verizon as a demo, I bet she included that.
And when I look at these figures, if you add that to that, that's what you do.
Yeah.
So it's, okay. So we have 9 at 70, that's enough. $630.
So that would be our out of pocket.
That's our out of pocket, that's the only out of pocket.
If we chose not to buy the modems.
And if we rent the modems, that would be $1,000.
How much did you say the modems were if we bought them?
If we bought them, it's $26.83.
Modems were just shy of $900, they were pretty expensive.
if you lease the modem, and anything goes wrong with them, they gotta fix it
That's right.
all the time.
Right.
So that's probably not a bad deal. So anyway, I'm not trying to take a meeting, but
No,
that's a
no,
savings of $4,497.44 a year.
A lot. And I did confirm that the telephone numbers are not gonna change. Verizon has no contract, but the modems, we would need to agree to do it for 2 years, to lease them for 2 years. And it does have effects. So when I spoke to John a little bit earlier, and he wanted to know how can they do it so cheap compared to what CenturyLink does. We are going wireless. This will be a wireless system, it's not a landline system.
Voice over internet.
So it's voice over internet.
We have,
Fiber limit.
we don't. We tried to get them to install the fiber line. And initially, they said it was viable, but then I think once they looked at the area, it was not probably. Maybe, this will get them to come down there eventually. It's great to get that fiber.
And another thing that we were looking at with the internet was that we were hoping that we could tie the camera system that we need into the internet, which looks like we're not gonna be able to do because the modem guy came out here and he and Chief went everywhere in the city and tried to find out if the signal would carry. And it doesn't look like that's gonna be a problem. So when we look at the camera system, it's gonna have to be standalone, right?
Essentially, what
Standalone
we have in
cameras.
there now is we've got a hard drive
Yeah.
at the gatehouse. So the cameras work down there and they record, like, if there's an event, I just and search the video and download it. Until it comes out. I just can't access it over the internet, like we can these cameras here. And that's just because of, like you said, it's the internet signal down there. Water is a very big barrier for cell service. Not
What do you
only
say, it
trees,
does some.
just this condensation that the trees collect and evaporates that plastic signal. So we have a lot of trees between here and the boat ramp. And there's another cell antenna line of sight from the boat ramp, but it's over water, and water's constantly evaporating with this plastic signal.
How long is the hard drive? Is it recorded?
And that was a very old system. And we were talking about replacing that and now. I think right now it stays for 30 days and then it lasts. So typically, if someone will report something to me right away, I can go back there and find it.
Okay. We have a discussion about this, because if not, I'd like to have a motion that we go ahead with purchasing the system. We know that it will take at least 60 days to get all of the equipment. So the sooner we do
And
it.
this is a locked-in rate, this isn't for just 5 years, or this is,
Nothing's.
It's not like long term.
And it's a government rate.
And it's a government
It's where the
rate.
police department gets the better rates. And we also get priority on the van with. So we have some bonuses being the public safety. That's one reason that the cost is so low. If you were a regular business, you wouldn't get this.
Is it reliable?
We tested a modem and a telephone, and I make a phone call from every single location, from here, the boathouse. Red Barn, for some reason, is just absolutely terrible. Service.
I think it, yeah.
Well, this was even outside. I saw Red Barn. It was terrible.
Well, they've lost.
And maybe they never put that.
It's our trees. There's too many trees here.
Yeah, but I did that. We tested, even at the water plant, we made phone calls from every location.
Good.
Okay. Any other discussion about this? If not, I will entertain a motion that we change telephone and internet providers to Verizon.
I'll make a motion that we change the city's telephone system and, internet system to Verizon.
One second.
Motion made by John, seconded by Jessica, that we change the telephone and internet provider to Verizon. All in favor? Motion is passed. I do not have anything further with updates. Chief Tucker?
Police report for April, we're under, modified operation orders 19, obviously. So we scaled back on a lot of violator contacts, person-to-person contacts, trying to take reports over the telephone where we can. Not only trying to protect our citizens, but our officers as well. And that's been working out. We haven't had any issues. So the number of citations, actually, I figured it'd be a little bit lower than what it is, but we issued an overall, we had 66 violator contacts, and we issued 8 citations, 58 charges, and 8 warnings, 17 code enforcement violation citations were issued, and there was 1 citation issued for public intoxication in the park. Our municipal jail, we contracted 7 points. The jail has been closed ever since COVID-19. All the municipal jails are closed. So the only arrests that we've made are county warrants. So they're Class B or better. So we made 3 of those, and those were warrants out of Henderson County with a total number of arrests. Code enforcement officer responded to 20 code enforcement violations that he observed. He issued 4 permits, and these were permits that were approved by the Z&D, things like that, that just only went to a permit. And found a couple of vehicles. We only had 1 criminal offense reported to the police department this month, and that was for a burglary of a motor vehicle. There was a gentleman who was having a party, and one of his party goers decided to get into his unlocked truck and fix some things that weren't there. But other than that, that was the only offense that was reported to us for the month of April. And we do have a suspect on that, so we're following down some leads from the other property.
Thank you, Chief. The Public Works Department report. All of the wastewater plant rehab work has been completed. The information about the violations have gone to TCEQ as of the 31st of March. Said that before, but, and we're just waiting to hear from him. The lift stations are also complete. 2 of the 5 well meters have been changed out. They repaired 8 water leaks and completed 3 CSI inspections. As I mentioned before, the Zoning and Building Standards Commission is working on the zoning and building standards ordinance. Jennifer, do you have anything about community ones?
Other than the Easter egg hunt is obviously canceled.
Are you not gonna have it at all?
No. No, I think at this point it's too late. I'm hoping that, maybe we can do a movie in the park soon. I'm just waiting to see what all the regulations are gonna be and what the schools do and see, just kind of get an accumulation of information.
It looks like, the governor, is gonna be, allowing youth camps to go forward in June.
Well, and he also said that they could, athletics for the schools, they could do their practices and stuff,
Right.
but then when talking about school, it's crazy what they are talking about maybe making them do, and so I don't know, so I'm just kind of waiting.
So that's a CDC combination.
I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting that City Hall is not open. Seems to be working well. We have had, we've had court twice. And stayed, just don't use the window. Back in this area. So that worked out pretty good. What did you do today? Yes. And that's all that we have on our agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, yes. Before we adjourn. My sticky. We need to do a budget meeting. Next Thursday, 28th, Well, I guess,
I can pretty much make everything.
me too. All right, so the 28th is out. Anytime next week?
Next week's kind of rough because Monday's a holiday,
Right.
so all my visits are crammed into 4 days.
Okay.
So, that's,
Then we'll have to go into next week. I'll have Belinda try and set something up. We do need to start working on the budget. They have given us a deadline with this new SB2. Depending on whether we raise taxes, on the schedule, or not gonna raise taxes, where it is, then there's a different schedule. So they're basically telling us that by July 17th, we need to have a pretty good idea of what we're gonna be doing. So we're already gonna be in June. By that meeting, I will have a proposed, something that we can start with. And then we just go forward
for both of them. For water and sewer and
For both.
general.
for both. We almost have, as soon as we get the water sewer one for the 6 months finally typed up, the form that we use, we will email that to you. It will be Friday. Over how much time? It's almost done. We're trying to get for tonight, but got sidetracked.
Tuesdays we start next month.
So if we schedule it for Thursday,
June 3rd, I'm looking. The Thursday.
so that's a Thursday. Anybody else? You're okay, I'm okay. Okay. So, we'll try and do Thursdays.
Okay, what road?
I'm okay, you're okay.
What date, Dan?
That was the 4th of June.
4th of June. What time?
We don't, Belinda's gonna send.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay, June 4th.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
5:30 the earliest you can get here. We'll keep that in mind.
I have no quarter in the middle.
5:30 is the best.
I think 5:30 is the best, or 6, I mean,
Yeah,
we could do 6.
no earlier than 5:30.
No earlier than 5:30. Okay, we'll keep that in mind as we do that. Okay, now I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been made and seconded, all in favor? Amen.
You're out, Robbie. David made the motion.
Thank you.
No, sure.
Hey.